Good morning, I'm Sofi and I'm at Kechara Forest Retreat, Bentong, Malaysia. Today I'll be doing a sharing on how to prostrate to the Buddha. As I have shared in my earlier live streams, we should take refuge at least 3 times a day in the 3 jewels, the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. We take refuge together with prostrations to show our respect, just like when you are greeting a king. So you do the prostration as a sign of respect as well. Prostration is to be performed before an object of refuge. For example, the Guru, a Buddha statue, a stupa, or tanka, or any holy objects. This is one of the most effective ways of purifying the seeds of karma, especially that of physical karma. It is also effective purification of obstacles, afflictions, and especially pride. Because as we prostrate, we are letting go of our pride, our ego. Prostration is one of the preliminary practices as it purifies our negative karma and accumulates merits to help the teachings that we receive become realizations, and to prepare our mind to receive higher practices of Tantra. When we perform prostrations, we touch the crown of our head, forehead, our heart. When we perform prostrations, we touch the crown of the head, forehead, neck and chest with folded palms. We fold our palms like this and with our thumb tucked in, as if it represents holding the jewel, never empty. Touching the crown of the head symbolizes the attainments of the Buddha body. When we touch, this is like touching the crown of the head, the forehead, our neck, and our heart. So as you see, touching the crown of the head, the neck will be symbolizing the attainments of the Buddha speech. And when it touches the heart, the chest, it symbolizes the attainments of the Buddha mind. Our hand symbolizes bringing the union of wisdom and method. In Tibetan Buddhism, we place our Guru on the highest, at the crown of our head, and the Buddha is at the forehead, and this is where the speech is, and the Sangha is there. So because the Guru is on top, because he is the most compassionate to be here, giving us the teachings and the guidance, and we treat him above all the others. There are 2 methods to prostrations. The first method is in half prostration, where we kneel down, touch our forehead and palms to the ground, then we get up and repeat it twice. And the second method is prostration in full length. We kneel down and we extend our body until the whole body touches the ground. Then we get up and repeat it 2 times. It's important that we rise quickly, because after making prostration, because if we don't, it symbolizes that we're lazy, and this could bring us to an unfortunate rebirth. And we don't use knuckles to push our body up, because it shows disrespect, and it appears that we are lazy, and through this we also gain bad rebirth, and we could actually come back as animals with hoofs. And I remember that we do prostrations when we are at the palms on the ground. Make sure that it's closed and it's not open like this, because it could mean that we come back, take rebirth as animals with webbed feet. As a precaution, don't eat just before you do your prostrations, because it may cause you stomach upset, or it may make you feel sluggish. It is always meritorious to do full-length prostrations because the merit gain is actually accumulated from the atoms that each we touch the earth. That means our body, every part of the body that touches the earth, that's the atoms, the amount of merit that you gain. So if you do half prostration, it's only your forehead, your palms, and your knees. Whereas if you do full prostration, it's your whole body. So if the prostration is done with good motivation or intention, the results of rebirth will be very high and very meritorious, like a universal ruler king. Prostration is a very, very powerful practice to accumulate merits. We engage in prostration practice or retreat. Well, we can engage in prostration or as a retreat as well, and we can recite the Sutra of the Three Baskets, which is a form of confession that mentions the names of the 35 Buddhas and the ways that we transgress from Buddha's teachings. This practice involves the body, which is prostration, the speech, the recitation of the sutra, and the mind, the deep respect that we have for the object of refuge, instead of just the body. So this practice, if we do it on a daily basis as a retreat, it would be good that if we start off with maybe like 50 prostrations a day, and slowly we will increase it maybe to 100, 150 or more. It's better that we start off slow, that we will not be easily put off and continue doing our prostrations. So to recap, prostration is one of the most effective ways of purifying our seeds of karma, and especially physical karma. And it's very effective to purify our obstacles and our afflictions, especially our ego. So I would advise that you do prostrations every time you take refuge daily. Thank you. This is my sharing for today, and I'll be taking questions now. I don't see any questions on the Facebook, but let me go to the questions that was asked yesterday. I will answer those questions first. Pastor Gina had asked, you mentioned, well, in your answer about aeons, you mentioned you put in 1 inch of hair, then you fill it up with the hair. Which one is it? It may help people for you to clarify this. The answer is to fill the hole with 1 inch human hairs, which means that you fill the hole up with the hairs, which is 1 inch length. Thank you. And Pastor Gina has asked another question. Can you please also elaborate how mantras help to find the real us? As mantra is the sound manifestations of Buddha's 3 aeons of practices of ethical conduct and virtue, mantra are words of power from Buddha's enlightenment. And when you recite mantras, you are tapping into this source of enlightenment. It has the power to transform our negative traits into positive, which counter the delusions. And the real us is everything positive but just obscured by the negativities of our samsaric living conditions. Once the negative is replaced, then we are allowing the goodness to shine through. Therefore, this is what the real state of self is, and the real us, that which actually brings us peace. Pastor Nero had asked, you mentioned that the Buddhist generates merit. Can you summarize in short how merit is created? And he further went on to say, perhaps because I've answered wrong, I did not answer actually, because I did not know. And he further went on to, perhaps you may want to go deeper into the steps of creating merits in another live streaming. It is a good topic to cover, since a lot of people are unclear about this. And I would thank him for this suggestion, for it is true, it will help a lot of people, because we need merits for a lot of to gain a lot of realizations, and it's quite important in our practice, and as such it should be a topic by itself. But in short, I will answer that merits are generated from selfish acts of virtues with strong motivations to benefit others. And Pastor Gina has asked, if our ability to visualize is not good, do the mantras still have an effect? Please explain the basis upon which they have effect. I think some people will be concerned about this, especially those who are just starting out and not familiar with the visualizations. Yes, it will still have effect even though if we do not visualize well, because it is a source of enlightenment coming from the Buddha's enlightened qualities that we are tapping into. The holy mantra itself has the power to bless us during our recitation. So yes, it does still carry the blessings. Yin Teo, how can we develop awareness? In mantra recitation, we focus and meditate on the mantra. With concentration of focus, we eliminate unnecessary thoughts that arise, and our awareness will grow. You'll find your hearing to be better. Your sense of smell will become stronger, more defined, and you have better power of concentration. So the longer you practice on focus and meditation, your awareness will increase, and as such you'll be more focused, and you'll be able to gain the higher awareness of your surroundings. And over the time you may also gain realizations, and in the process you may gain clairvoyance as well. Martin had asked in regards to Pastor Nero's questions. He said, is it only based on practitioners' motivation? To clarify Pastor Nero's question, does merit come from our compassion, unselfishness alone? Say no. The merits arise from the acts of virtue, which means actions, the good actions, and also our motivation to benefit others. So it is two things that you need to combine together to gain the merits. And it also can arise from holy objects, that such as Buddha's mantra, which he has carried the power of his practices over 3 aeons, and from his ethical conducts, and also with his practices. So in that way we can also gain some merits. Right, so I'll look to the questions for today. Pastor Adeline had asked, said, Dear Sophie, please clarify whether prostration is supposed to be done in front of the object of refuge or any holy items. it was unclear to me as you mentioned both earlier. You can do your prostrations in front of either, as long as it's holy objects, as they are both, they carry the essence of enlightenment. So it's either, it's not, you don't have to do both. Right, a question from Yi Yin Teo. Can you please explain how merit is generated again? It is a bit unclear. The merit is generated from both your motivation and from your actions. So it's fulfillment of the actions with good motivation that will generate the merits. And also you can gain some merits from enlightened beings such as the Buddha, who has actually practiced in 3 aeons of his virtue and in his compassion. So from there we can also gain some merits from him when we tap into his source of merits. Pastor Shin Tan, I think you may want to check again your answer with regards to merits. Please review and answer again. Thank you, Pastor Shin. I will do that, and I will in my next session I will come back with a clearer answer. Thank you. Okay, Pastor Adeline has mentioned in your reply to Pastor Nero regarding how to generate merits. You have mentioned the merits can be accumulated with selfish actions with a strong motivation to benefit others. Please clarify this. Sorry, that is my mistake. It should be selfless. It's selfless actions which is to benefit others. And Pastor Adeline has asked, is clairvoyance the focus of Buddhist practice? No, it's not. Our practice is to gain full enlightenment. And clairvoyance is only something that is a sight that you gain in the process of reaching enlightenment. Okay, Yi Yin Teo has said, can you be clearer on the 2 things we need to have in order to gain merit? What are the 2 things? The one thing is motivation, very strong motivation to benefit others. The second is to put this motivation into action. That means when you're doing something, you have that motivation of benefiting others, and this is a selfless act of benefiting others. That is the 2 things that, because you need to have the method to method and motivation. Chris has asked, can the prostration be done without a holy object or holy item in front of us? Can we visualize them? Yes, we can. When we can visualize them, we can concentrate on their qualities of enlightenment, and we can do prostration in that way too. But it's better that if you do have an object for you to focus or concentration, but it's not necessary. Yi Yin Teo had asked, how do we tap into the merits of the Buddha? The Buddha has gained enlightenment, And as such, due to his compassion, he's able to manifest in different ways to help us. And as such, since we are on the topic of mantra, mantra is a source of Buddha's enlightenment. So when we're reciting the mantra, we're actually tapping into the source of the merits of the Buddha. Thank you. How does prostration help us to cut our ego eventually? This question is by Joy Kam. Because every time we prostrate, we are submitting ourselves to a higher being, which is the Buddha or our Guru, an enlightened being. So as such, if we were to engage, especially in a prostration retreat, we are always submitting our ego, letting go of our ego, and over time we'll find that our ego lessens. So it's very good to do prostrations. And Joy has asked, when we do prostrations in a retreat, usually how many should we do, and what are the requirements? Like, can we take a break when we are busy and come back to where we left off? Okay. When we are engaged in a retreat for prostrations, our target is to reach 100,000 prostrations. This is our preliminary practices. So as such, we would do as much as we can to reach this in a short time, so that we may be able to receive higher teachings. And we need to set our motivation, a good motivation, that we wish to eliminate all our egos, our negative traits, that we may be able to reach, to receive higher teachings, that in turn we may be able to gain realizations, and as such we may be able to help others in their afflictions or negativities, to help them out when they need. And no, we cannot take a break when we're busy, but we can reduce the number. At least you can do 7 or the very, very minimal 3. So it should be continuous, so that there will be an unbreaking chain of merits to be gathered. Right, I think that is the question for today. I missed out the question from Pastor Shin. Can you briefly explain how prostration is a way to practice in terms of body, speech, and mind, as I mentioned earlier? Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, when you touch the crown of your head, it is symbolizing the attainments of the Buddha's body. And when you touch the neck, it symbolizes the attainment of Buddha's speech. And when you touch the chest, it's the attainments that symbolizes the attainments of Buddha's mind. So when in our practice, we are all aiming to be like to gain the realizations of Buddha and to gain the qualities of the Buddha. So as such, when we are touching the head, the crown, we are hoping that in future we may gain Buddha's attainments of the body, and also the same with the neck and the chest. So this is we are celebrating Buddha's enlightenment, his qualities, and at the same time we are hoping to attain the same for ourselves. Chris has asked, if someone is wheelchair bound, how can they do the prostration practice? If they are limited by their conditions, they can just do the prostration sitting in their wheelchair. It's just doing the same as we do in Buddhist, in Tibetan. Namo Guru Be, which is to the Buddha, to the Guru. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, and Namo Sanghaya. So you can just sit in your wheelchair and you do this 3 times, or as many as you can. Okay, Pastor Adeline has asked, what is the relation between prostration with whole fists and taking rebirth as animal with hooves? Because when you're holding the fist like this and you're doing your prostration, so it's like creating a condition where over time the karma is created that you may take rebirth as the hooves. This looks like the animal's hooves, so that is why do not do it in using the fist. And it's also disrespectful in a way. This is from my point of view, that because you are holding a fist, and when you hold a fist, it usually shows something that's negative, in anger or something that is disrespectful, so it will be not good to hold a fist. It's not a complete submission. Chris has asked, may I know why our palm should not be empty when we do prostrations? We usually would tuck our thumbs in when we do prostration, so that the palm is not empty, because it represents, because when you're doing prostration, you are also offering our Buddha the respect, the refuge, the respect. So that way you should not offer emptiness, and as such, when we tuck it in, it symbolizes a jewel that we hold in our palms. Yin Teo has a question. What exactly is a holy object? Can you give more examples? Holy objects are anything like relics, that has been imbued with the enlightened qualities of the Buddha or any enlightened beings. So it could be any relics from the Buddha or any highly attained masters who has gained realizations, and could be the robes of the Sangha. It could be any objects that has been blessed by the Buddhas, blessed by the holy gurus. So as such, those would be constitute holy objects. Anything that has the enlightened qualities. Pastor Adeline has said, Sophie, with regards to holding fists during prostration, the second part of your personal view may not necessarily. Also, please find out what you have shared based on your personal views. Have a source for it. That is true. I apologize for that. That is just my personal view. Thank you. Okay, there's no further questions, and I'll end the session now. Thank you very much. and we'll do a completion dedication, and I'll do it in Tibetan. Jang je senjo rinpoche ma ke pa nam ge shi ke pa nam pa me pa yang go ne gon do pe wa shu to ni to wa rinpoche ma ke pa nam ge shi ke pa nam pa me pa yang go ne gon do pe wa shu la so ji ne sa pa ge wa di dan dan ro wa gun na gam pa dan je pa je sun lo san tra pa i tam ping in po rin do sa se shu ke wa kun tu yan da lam ma dan ra me cho ki pa la lo cho ki sa dam lang yi ya te ra so ne do ye jang ni ngo pa ngo tu so ke wa di yo do da lam ma sang yo dro yo ne dro wa chi kya ma lu pa de sa la go pa shu cho ki kya po song ka pa cho su nam pa pe wa la ge ki sa ma si wa da tung ki ma lu sang wa shu da dam song yi do sun da tre wa song yi la te ne ge wa lo san tra pa i tam pa yu ri ba yu shi ni mo de le sen de le ni mi gu nyan de le shi ni sen ta to de le pe kon cho song yi jing yi lo kon cho song yi ngo tro so kon cho song yi tra si shu je su lam ma ku sen rap ting ching nam ka tri ni cho ju ke pa da nga sam tem pe dro mi sap song yi dro e mun sa ta to ni yu shi ga ngwe ra we ko we shin gam den pen nan de wa ma lu gu ni chen ren se wan ten sing get so yi sha pe shi de ba du den yu shi home tông pe ngô trụ ma lu pa den de da la sao du so ko dan den pa lok ta nam ke pa so she shok tan sao. Thank you.